All right. What is up, everyone? I am Pete here with Zach, and this is Open Minded. Today, we're going to be talking about what is next for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime.
Like the interesting thing is the houses you see around you are all solar houses.
21st Century Fox has been holding talks to sell most of the company to Walt Disney.
This is a good one.
This is a good one. Because I think Marvel is ridiculous with their stuff.
Ridiculous how? They're the most successful franchise literally ever, other than Star Wars, which has been so inconsistent. Marvel is the most consistent and successful franchise ever.
Yeah, but it's my god, like it's. I could see in the future there's just like no more like super. Well, there'll always be it, but like they're not like a big deal anymore because like they're playing it out. I think in a little bit of a way, like these superhero movies.
They're milking it.
Yeah, they're exactly, and eventually it's gonna run dry and people aren't gonna care. And they're gonna do, oh, that's a sick car. But
yeah, but okay. In the early 2000s, when they were coming out with like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies and X-Men movies, people were saying, "Oh man, this superhero thing, this is just a fad. It's gonna go away soon."
Who was saying that?
Everybody.
Really? I don't remember that.
If you look into like what executives were saying and what movies were being passed over and what movies were getting funded at the time, a lot of people in the industry were thinking that these superhero fad is going to go away soon. Just like every other fad, it's going to be here for a while and then it's going to go away. But it's been almost 20 years and it's stronger than ever because anytime any type of superhero movie comes out, which is like 10 a year, everyone like runs to the fucking theater no matter how good or bad it is.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. Like, nobody's gonna want to watch them because they'll still be out there. But I'm saying like how like it's the greatest movie ever. Like Black Panther is awesome.
Did you see Black Panther?
Yeah, it was.
It was awesome.
It was as good as I don't know. Trying to put
man.
it up to something. It wasn't that good. Come on, it wasn't that good.
I think it was really good. I think it was. Black Panther. I think is. I mean, there's a lot of Marvel movies, but of all the Marvel movies, I'd say probably in my top 5.
No.
Maybe 6th.
No.
Because my first one.
I would say
is
it's
Thor.
not even as good as Captain America, the first one.
No, I think it's much better. I think
No way. Captain America, the first one, was so much better. So much better.
No.
Yes.
That's just like your opinion, man.
Well, what did he do? Like the whole movie didn't kind of make sense.
Well, I think that it was good.
Like think about Captain America when he like was the little skinny kid and shit and like jumped on the grenade thinking it was gonna explode and he's like, everybody get back. Like there was no like crazy awesome scenes like that with him. It was just like this charade of a movie.
What about the scene where he gives up his power and stays true to his tradition, the traditions of his people, and almost risks losing the power of or the basically the crown of his people because someone challenged him and he was like, "Fine, you challenged me. I'm confident in my abilities."
That's what I mean. It was stupid. He didn't need to do that. Why did he need to give like you missed it? Like you didn't get here on time. Like you had a chance to say something if you wanted to, but you weren't here. Through our traditions, you're gonna have to wait until next year or whatever. You know.
I think it was a good movie, and I think it was different than the rest of the movies. And I think that's
same. It was the same as all the others.
No,
except
it wasn't.
Not as good. It didn't have a good story.
Well, let's talk about.
Everything had to be like really her little gun things. They had to have like tiger mouths or whatever, lion mouths. Like it was so retarded.
Well, what about Thor Ragnarok? Like,
yeah, that was awesome. That movie, that was the best Marvel movie I've ever seen.
I agree. I think that's my favorite Marvel movie. But the thing about Marvel, they've been around for a very long time. What year did Iron Man come out?
a while ago. What, like
2008.
Yeah.
2008 Iron Man came out. And
10 years.
so it's been 10 years, and there is a Marvel movie for everybody. Everyone has their favorite. Not everyone likes the same Marvel movies as other people like. All the films, like they felt like they were maybe getting a little stale there because the films and the villains in the films were kind of like just there as fillers so that we can get to the overarching, story. But regardless of that, there is a film for everybody. Like some people really liked the Hulk films, some people really liked the Iron Man films. Like for me, I thought
never
Iron
really
Man.
liked- What? What were you gonna say?
What? I really liked Iron Man 1 and I really liked Iron Man 2, but then when I saw Iron Man 3, I was disappointed. I've spoken to multiple people who felt the opposite. They said Iron Man 2 sucked, but Iron Man 3 really saved it. It was awesome, and I didn't like it as much. And I think it was because it was a change of direction. They took Jon Favreau out and they brought somebody else in, and
I
then
don't know.
same.
I never really liked the Iron Man movies. I mean, I've seen, like, again, I've watched them all a million times, but like every Marvel movie I've seen and whatever, but it's not like I would never consider it like a good movie, It's not like it's not
See, that's where
breaking
I
any
disagree with you.
barriers or anything, or borders or whatever the
Yeah,
fuck.
so you wouldn't consider Black Panther a good movie, but you would consider Batman versus Superman a good movie?
No, I'd say it was better it's a better movie. It's still a superhero movie.
Batman versus Superman
And there's
was
more-
such
there's-
garbage
no.
compared to every
It was
Marvel
cool.
movie.
It was so much cooler than the others. That's what he
No.
makes, these fucking cool movies.
What about the Justice League? Did you see the Justice League?
Yeah, it was cool.
The Justice League was terrible.
Well,
and the
I don't know. There's
Justice
a lot
League
of
was
stuff
supposed to be
that
it was
they
supposed to
don't
be
let him do.
DC's. Well, yes, it has a lot to do with the studio and the
Yes.
studio control. But at the same time, the Justice League, regardless of the studio, was supposed to be DC's Avengers. The Avengers was like the biggest box office movie of the year, and Justice League isn't even in like the top 20 best box office movies, and that was supposed to be their equivalent.
Well, that's what maybe people would equate it to, but they're not trying to be Marvel. They're themselves, They're not trying to be what Marvel does. I mean, they definitely want the money Marvel's making, but that doesn't mean they're making good products.
Well, I think they are trying to emulate what Marvel has done, because Marvel right now it seems to be the only successful one, even though not all their movies are great. All of their movies are profitable, and all of their movies are at least good, I think. Some better than others. But overall, they've had massive positive feedback from both critics and fans alike. And you say, oh, Marvel films are for kids. They're very childish. But you are still watching them all the time in the background.
Well, I watch cartoons still, too, though. Like a Family Guy and American Dad. Those are like the funniest cartoons ever.
American Dad is awesome. I love it.
Yeah. But I'll watch anything, too. I'll give most things a chance, also, even if I don't think I'm going to like it. And I'll think I will like it. Like the movie that you're about to see, where they can't...
A Quiet Place?
A Quiet Place. I went in there thinking it was just going to be like a movie that I could watch, for whatever amount of time. And
Okay, don't even say anything else. I'm about to watch the movie today, okay? If you say anything that ruins it, I'm going to come through this computer screen and slap you in the face.
Yeah, but I didn't know
I
anything
thought it was going to
about
be like this, but then everyone...
Well, that's 'cause
this
I didn't
happens.
know anything about it. I just saw like whatever, the few second trailer of it, and then I turned
Well,
it off.
that's what I do. I don't watch trailers. I watch the most of a trailer I'll watch is the first 30 seconds. And after that, I turn it off because I'm like, I can't ruin this plot for me. There are so many movies that I was so excited about, and then I watched the trailer, like the 2.5 minute or 3 minute trailer, and then I went to go see the movie, and it was basically a longer version of the trailer. Like I already got all the plot points.
Yeah.
It showed the final scene in the trailer and like the final battle.
Yeah.
It's so
But that's
disappointing.
one thing, though. Like, actually, I don't know.
Were you about to say something good about Marvel and then you
Well,
had to
no,
stop
I was
yourself?
gonna say, like, you could watch the trailers for Marvel, or I could watch them and not feel like I'm ruining anything because I don't really care for them anyway. But then that would have ruined how good Thor Ragnarok was. Like, if I
Yeah.
knew, like, things about it before I went and saw it, like, it wouldn't have been so surprisingly awesome, you know?
The only trailer for Thor Ragnarok that I watched was the montage with the immigrant song where it just shows all the characters walking in slow motion and a couple of like the punches and some of the fight scenes. But that didn't ruin any of the plot points, except the only one that did ruin was the reveal of Hulk, which I think
Yeah, that's the
That-
one part I saw. And then I was
That-
like, all right, well, I'll go and watch it. And then I watched it, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is funny. This is great. See, that's the best Marvel movie. Like,
it's funny.
that, Captain America,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
the first one, yeah.
Yeah, the first one was blew me away. The second one I was kind of disappointed with, but the more I watch it, I like it. I just think it's too goofy. It's not serious enough.
Well, yeah, well, at the beginning...
Some of it feels forced.
Well, you can't feel afraid for the characters in any way after the first scenes, you know, because they've already shown to be immortal. You know,
Yeah.
they're not going to get hurt, you know.
Well, but the same thing happened in Thor Ragnarok. I mean, they're pretty much immortal. He's, Hela is getting stabbed in the chest, and like Thor falls from space onto a planet and just like stands up, and he's like, "Oh, that sucked."
Yeah, but
like
if they fought each other, one would die. Like, Hela could have
Yeah.
killed Thor, or Thor maybe could have noticed his power and whatever. But also, you think about, like, Hulk. Hulk could, smash anything,
Well, the thing about we're just this is
Like,
this is
that's
the
one
best
thing.
this is the best
Would-
Marvel
would
film, so we keep coming back to
Would
this one.
Serta, could he have beaten Serta, you think? Like, if he just didn't, was like, Thor, stop! Hulk, stop! When Thor said that, at the end. Thor
Yeah,
Ragnarok.
he
I
probably
think he
could have.
Yeah, I think he could have beaten Serta. Like, he could have, their scariest, whatever it's
Yeah.
called, legend or whatever, could have actually been nothing. Hulk would have just, like, killed him.
Hulk smash.
But it's not even like, yeah, whatever. You can stop
Well-
talking about that and just start talking about Marvel. But
I
Marvel
think
in
I think
general.
overall Marvel and one of the good things about Marvel is they listen to their fans and they change over time. They realize that these movies are starting to get stale and the same,
See,
so
that's
they
one
started
thing-
changing. They started changing the format of the film, and that's why Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther are coming out now. And I think everything from here on to the future are gonna be following a different formula. And then once that starts getting stale, they'll change it again.
I don't know if they. I don't like mob mentalities. Like, when people start listening to things, I feel like that's when it starts getting ruined, because you shouldn't be listening to everyone. You should be listening to, like, one or two people that kind of know what they're talking about.
Like you and me.
Yeah. Like, it's not like they're
As
not
if
gonna
we know
like
what
it.
we're talking about. We don't know fucking shit.
It's not like people aren't gonna go and watch, whatever movies, whether or not they listen to them about how to make it or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay, I know you have an opinion about the Marvel movies, but I think overall they're well made. They have story structure, they have character development, the continuity is good. They tell compelling stories, like you somewhat care about the main characters, like not just because they're the good guys. There isn't really a good and a bad, like in Captain America Civil War, that it puts that to the test. Like you have this team of all their good guys, but they're fighting each other. So who do you root for? Who's actually right? I'm sure that there are certain fans who chose different sides that were kind of like on the same side prior to that movie. And overall, the filmmaking is good, and that's why they are so successful. They're not trying to control every little aspect of it the way that Warner Brothers is doing with that and with the DC side.
Well, yeah, they're. I'm not saying that they're like garbage movies. You know, I've seen them and I've watched them many times. You know, their rewatchability is pretty good because it's not this insanely good movie. That's the reason why I guess you could watch it again and again. If it was like this profound movie, you know, eventually it would lose its profoundness and it becomes boring, you know.
Yeah,
But
that
it's
happens
just-
with anything.
It's like a good background movie. Like you could put it on and not pay attention to it. That's like pretty much all the superhero movies. But you
Well,
do want
from-
to pay attention to it the first few times, you know.
Yeah. For me, every time Thor Ragnarok is on, and I've seen it like 10 times, I will sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good movie. And so I think that the problem maybe that you're having with them is that they have this average, like they have this line where it's like all the movies kind of stay around that line. That before Thor Ragnarok, at least, there weren't really any that were like so above the line, and there weren't really any that were so below the line either. They were all decent movies. Some of them were better, some of them were
They're
worse.
decent.
Whereas, like, and then you look at the Star Wars universe, some of them, in my opinion, 3 of them are like, boom, way up here, like one of the best movies ever made. And then 3 other ones are like, boom, really, really bad, and I hate them. And then the other, 3 or 4 that are out are like kind of somewhere in the middle. So their range of good films versus bad films versus average films are kind of all over the place. And then with Warner Brothers, I feel that most of their films in the DC universe were just like way below the line of the average, like, well-made movie, and maybe 1 or 2 were like right on the line.
No, they're way cooler.
I disagree.
They're way cooler. Think about
I think
like
the concept of them are cooler, but the technical ability and the story and the writing and the dialogue and the character development and everything that makes a movie like really good was poorly done in those movies.
But I'd say the same
but
thing with Marvel
the
movies.
stories were good. Can't believe that you're a DC fan.
Well,
not a
think
Marvel
about
fan.
the Captain America, whatever, Civil War thing.
Okay.
That was so like the whole basis of the movie being a civil war was retarded. Like they were angry that that crazy thing was going to land on whatever that the city got destroyed. Like every problem they had was them saving the world. Like had they not saved the world would have been destroyed. So you're complaining that Manhattan had like whatever in which movie was that?
The Avengers.
Yeah, in the Avengers.
And
then
and then they went to another like country in the second Avengers movie and destroyed that country, and a bunch of people died. And then
the Civil
well
War,
now
it was so stupid. Like
now tell me the plot
And then-
of Batman versus Superman and why Superman was on trial. Because he fucking destroyed
Voluntarily.
the city.
voluntarily, they couldn't do anything about it. That's what the Marvel tried to do. Was like, if you don't do anything, we'll arrest you, and you'll feel the full force of the government. Like what? Like you see the people in our company. Like you're not going to do anything. That's what they should have said. And that's like what Superman's like a gentleman about it. So he went in voluntarily or whatever the word is.
Voluntarily.
And like they all exploded in this crazy fire, and you see him just like, which was an awesome scene. You can't tell me that wasn't awesome. That was so sick. That scene is better than most scenes in any Marvel movie.
I think that was a good scene, but
The whole idea of that was awesome. That like he could even be on trial. Like that's ridiculous. Like there's
It's
no
just as ridiculous that the Marvel people are on trial, and half of them voluntarily came forward and said, "You're right. We are out of control, and we need to be regulated." And the other half said,
those are cucks. And like grandstanders, or not grandstanders, what's the word? Virtue signaling. That's all they're doing. You know, they're right. I'm gonna take the moral high ground. And
That's
say,
exactly
"We're
what
bad."
Superman was doing in Batman versus Superman. He
No,
said,
'cause
you know,
Superman didn't want any of that stuff to happen. Superman's awesome. All right.
Goku could beat him.
Well, yeah, Goku is definitely better than Superman. Goku would fucking. There's like one person that could really kill Goku, and that's Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, and no one can kill Dr. Manhattan.
See, that's the problem. Basically, if you watch Watchmen, you read Watchmen, you realize just how ridiculous the Superman superhero thing is. Like, he has the Batman character, he has all these characters that are like everybody, and then you have Rorschach. He only sees good and bad, you know.
Yep.
And then he introduces an actual superhero, Dr. Manhattan, basically a god, manipulates anything, you know, can be teleporting anywhere instantaneously. Like, he is a god. Like, he could destroy. He basically made, like, writing it down. He just said, like, fuck you to Superman and, like, the most powerful, like, you know, beings ever made in comics and Marvel and all these things, and he just made Dr. Manhattan a god, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be honest, Dr. Manhattan is almost an antagonist in those stories. He's a good guy, but his only weakness is that he doesn't understand humanity anymore.
Well, he just doesn't care. Like, one thing that he says is, like, the only people he ever found interesting was the comedian and Ozymandias.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, because they are, you know, the most interesting people in that universe or whatever. But, like, the quality of Watchmen, not the movie, the book, is 1,000 times better than anything Marvel has put out.
I agree that if we're talking about the comics and the books and this anything before these franchise like universes started coming into play,
is in New York Times top 100 novels, whatever, ever made. Like, that's how good it is.
And that's a DC.
It is DC, isn't it?
It is DC, yeah. And so overall, I think DC did it better in the comic world, but now in the movie worlds and the film worlds, I think Marvel is doing it better because
Warner Brothers is sinking their own ship or whatever.
They are. Well, and Warner Brothers did it better when they were just making standalone films like Watchmen and the Batman Begins franchise.
Yeah.
And the Superman franchise, even like back in the day. Like, they didn't try to connect it all. Disney was the first one, Marvel was the first one to really try to do that. And now that everyone else is trying to emulate what Marvel is doing, they're not doing it as well. Maybe someday someone will do it as well, and the quality of the films will be better than the quality of the Marvel films. But overall, Marvel is doing it best, and Marvel is winning. Even though not all of their films are super spectacular, overall they're winning. But anyway, the future of superhero films, I think, you know, I don't know where it's going to go.
I think it's going to probably still be around, but the impact and the anticipation for them is just going to die down, you know? And there'll be other movies coming out.
Yeah, I mean,
other types of movies, whatever.
Well, DC has announced that they're gonna basically abandon their DC extended universe type thing and focus more on the characters a little bit more, because it's obviously not working for them. Hopefully they'll go back to their roots and start making really, really good films like Watchmen and Batman Begins again. Whereas Marvel is doing the exact opposite. They just purchased 20th Century Fox. There's a bunch of Fox superhero films that are slated for the next 2 years, but after Marvel finishes Phase 4, Phase 3, which is gonna conclude with like the Avengers Infinity War, which just came out, the Ant-Man and Wasp, which looks terrible, and Captain Marvel and Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Once they're done with that, I think that they're going to start implementing some 20th Century Fox superheroes like the X-Men into their films, into their universe, and they're going to even expand more, and they're sticking with their formula because it seems to be working for them and only them.
Yeah. That
I don't know,
sounds all right.
This is a debate that is as old as the religion debate. Xbox versus PlayStation, PC versus Mac, Buddha versus Jesus, DC versus Marvel. No one's ever going to have a definitive answer, so we could talk for hours. Mm-hmm. All right, well, what do you guys think? Is the future of Marvel a bright one in your eyes, or would you rather see more films like the dark DC, style films? Email us at openmindedepisodes@gmail.com or leave a comment down below, and we will see you next time. We'll
Later.
see you there, or we'll see you on another time.
Coming down in the supper time.
All right, peace out, guys.